Good morning, YouTube. Good to have you along here this morning. If you're watching this as a rerun, you can skip ahead about 18, 20 minutes, and we'll be right into the show at that point. If you're watching this live, just getting everything ready to go and set up here for the radio stations to connect with me. So there you have it. There you go. Hopefully everything is just dandy for you. Checking a few things here. See, that doesn't work for some reason. Let's reconnect and see if it works here. There it is. Morning, Waylon. Good to see you, buddy. How was your class reunion? Did you get a chance to go down to wherever it was? Class reunion. Had state baseball? Okay. Yeah, Thursday night. I don't know about that. I suppose people that have regular jobs. But just like the last time, I was out hanging. So got most of it finished. Well, I should say that. I got some of it done. I'm going to moved over to the share stuff here yesterday. So get that wrapped up and head down south and go to cousin's place. Cheers to you. Ivermectin, Saturday morning, July 16th. Oh, yeah. Besides being like really warm out. Morning, Pierre. Good to have you along here this morning. KGFX. Snapchat from Minnesota. Cool. Morning, Eric. Everything's good today. Kind of finished up here at the ranch for the haying procedures, moved over and headed over to another place to start haying at that area. So things are going pretty good. Got some cattle moved because this year the Forest Service is really checking up on us. My lease place, I'm doing a twice over rotation. So the dates are very specific. And here at the home place, had to move into one place yesterday. So we had to get that taken care of. But everything was going good. Just the cows moved as slow as possibly because it was pretty warm. We even started early and it just got warm. So which is okay, making things grow here. So hopefully your morning's going all right. Good morning, Dave from Minnesota is watching. Halfway done with the second crop hay already. Holy cow. Talk about hitting fawns with the hay bind. I hit one this year, but I have hit one for the last 6 years. This year being a few weeks late on making hay. The fawns were a little older and they would stick their head up so I could see them. Then get out of the field. This year, only hit 3. Turkey nest last year. It's 7, so just to give you information. Yeah. So here's the thing. The fawns that I've been running into. So I went from a disc bind pull behind, like a swing tongue, and I traded that out because it didn't do as good in the shorter grass hay that we have here in this country. So I sold that and I bought a regular swather with a regular hay head, conventional sickle hay head on it. And for some reason, I'm not seeing them as easy as when I had a swing tongue for some reason. I don't know what looking over the shoulder and looking into it, I suppose, a little bit ahead of things. But yeah. But on the second hand, Dave, our fawns up in this country are way younger. It seems like they just had them here like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I mean, they're wet behind the ears. So still waiting in the garage for Joseph. Yeah, I know. That's a tough thing, buddy. Good morning, Mike Wagner. You're filling in for Todd. Look at that. Mike Wagner. the podcast extraordinaire. Morning to all y'all. Karen, good morning. Do you and I ever take a Saturday off there, Karen? Curious on that. Let's get Wayne on here. Let's see what Wayne's got to say today. There's the number. Oops. I better check this system here first. Okay, that's set up. There we go.
Good morning, Scott.
Wayne, do you remember back in the old radio days when you heard the touch tones and people calling people to see if they'd win a contest?
Yeah, I do.
Every time I make the phone call in the morning here, I hear the touch tones here. And we're live on YouTube, by the way. And it just takes me back to being a kid like that and hearing those touch tones all the time. And we need to bring back the old school radio stuff.
Yeah. Well, how about the dial phone? Let's do that.
We still have one out in the shop, man. We still have a regular rotary phone because if power goes out, that still goes through.
Try to call in on a contest sometime on a dial phone.
Especially when there's a lot of 8s and 9s in the number. Call 888-999-7899.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a challenge. Got through though every once in a while, So
yeah, the old days.
Yeah, we age ourselves a little bit. It's kind of whatever.
I'm okay with the aging thing. There's some people that really don't. They can't handle it that much. I really don't care. Mm-hmm. I really don't. However, I'm 48, but I got a call yesterday from like a telemarketer thing, and this lady, it was an actual live person, not computerized, and she says something about my. She said, "We have a new updated plan for your Medicare." And I said, well, how the hell old do you think I am right now? Seriously. I'm a ways away from Medicare, I think, but what the hell,
Yeah. Yeah, we had John's camp this last week, and I was the oldest instructor there, so I don't know if that brings more knowledge or just have to slow everything down for me or something. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you do?
Yeah, just like Toby Keith's song said, just don't let the old man in.
Yeah.
Do
you hear what happened to Toby Keith?
Yeah, we had concert tickets up at Minot for the North Swiss Fest, and they said they'll refund them, but we're going to see who the fill-in act is going to be, because I know that I think in my Minnesota State Fair, Alabama filled in for them. So if they would come, we would surely enjoy to see them again. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Toby's a good guy. He filled in for, I think it was Waylon Jennings or Merle Haggard or whatever, got sick one time, and he went backstage and he says, hey, is there anything I can do? He says, yeah. He says, yeah, go do my set if you know all my songs. And he said, I know every one of them. And he went out and did the damn set.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did the whole concert for him. I can't remember which one it was for, but yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah. Well,
so what's new down in your area? You have all your hay up, you said, or
the hay is done here at the ranch. It's done at the lease place. The only thing I have at the lease place is some hailed out winter wheat.
You got some hail out there, right?
Oh yeah. And then I moved the swather over to the neighbors. I got a quarter over of their hay ground out of 3/4. Only a quarter of it is worth haying. So
really?
With the hail as well. It got hailed on, but there's still stuff there. I mean, I can salvage quite a bit of it. So I probably went from 3 bales an acre to like a bale and a half to a bale and 3/4 an acre, but still, and I need feed,
I guess I didn't realize it was that bad down in your area.
Yeah, it hit pretty hard. So then I head south into South Dakota. A cousin of mine bought a ranch down there, and I'm going to put the hay up down there too. So I got quite a few weeks yet of getting after it.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
Yeah.
We're starting to see a couple of fawns come around, and my wife's seeing some, and I sent you a couple pictures. Did you see
I
those?
did, yeah. I did see the kind of
Yeah,
big old goofy things on our antlers there.
yeah. These clubs that these the one buck was getting. The other one had these knobs underneath his bases, and I just think it has to be something, that residual EHD piece, that that testosterone, you know, variations or something's not happening right with them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'd be interesting if others see that too.
I've seen two mule deer bucks, and they look normal. The elk look normal. Elk actually look really good this year. And as for whitetails, I've seen two does the entire year.
Don't really.
And we got hit with EHD so bad in that lease place that, I mean, we were moving cows the other day, and just carcass after carcass of, just bones now, but
Mhm.
just a lot of dead heads out there. It's just pretty disgusting. So we're
Yeah,
still finding that,
that is.
and the grass is deep. They're hidden well, but your horse
Sure.
kind of jumps at it once in a while when there's a deadhead laying right there. So,
Yeah, you got to be
oh,
on your toes.
I got to give a countdown for the radio stations here. We are
Okay.
at 70030, station 70030. It's coming up here in a little bit, though, but I forgot to do my countdown form. 70030, and that's Mountain Time, coming up on Mark. 4.5, 5 minutes there, Wayne.
Alrighty.
For the radio side of things. So I had to make a decision in March. I'm one of the board of directors for our local broadband company.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to make a decision. Our bylaws, or the bylaws that were situated years and years and years ago before I got on the board, say that we have to attend at least 2 national seminars each year. And we kind of decided maybe one's plenty with the way the prices of tickets have gone up and everything, right? It's expensive. So
Sure.
we're trying to save a little money, so we cut it down to 1. Well, in March, they said you got to pick. It's either in July, you go to South Carolina, or in November, you go to San Francisco. Well, in March, it was still drought, right? It was still dry as hell. And I was like, well, we're not going to make any hay. 2, I hate San Francisco because it's a just nasty, nasty city. And in November, I wean calves anyway. So it was right during weaning. I'm like, well, probably not going to be doing much for haying in July if it's still like this in March. So I chose to go to the July one, which I take off tomorrow evening for. Or no, this evening, tonight. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I got to run into the fair and do the 4-H sale for the Bowman County Fair, and then I'm going to head down to Rapid City, jump on a plane. So, but anyway, that's where I'll be for the next few days, and see what the latest, greatest in broadband technology is going to be coming here.
So is the weather down there going to be cool
I have no idea.
than it is here?
I have not even checked the weather. I haven't packed anything. All I've been doing is putting hay and moving cows, getting everything ready. So when I take off for 3-4 days, I know stuff is at least accomplished. And I still got a lot of stuff to do today before I get everything. But yeah, I haven't even packed yet, so I have no idea.
You gotta get cruising.
I wear the same stuff, whether it's 100 degrees or if it's 20 degrees. I'm inside seminars all day long, so it's not like I'm going to be outdoors very much.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, enjoy yourself down there. Maybe you can take in something else down there, and I don't know what there is to see.
Man.
But
I wish a guy could go to these places and they have all their events that you can attend and fundraisers that you can help out with, but it's always like golfing and stuff that's expensive to do, and like tours of the city. And I don't know. It's like, let's go out in the country and shoot a wild hog. It's like, no, I'll pay for that.
Hey.
That's a fundraiser I can get behind.
There you go. Yeah.
Did you hear any more about the Platte, South Dakota thing after talking to Trent? I sent him a message, Eric, and I did not get a response back on that one here. I'll send him another message here and see if he just forgot.
How have your meetings been going for the 30/30? Have you had any more recently?
I just did the local ones around here. So So, I mean, they're very well attended.
Hmm. Yeah, I was listening to Trent. I think it was yesterday, and he was saying that people are kind of saying, "Well, when is this starting?" We are not hearing the 30-30, but
Oh,
they're
they're
not
doing it, man.
titling.
That's
They're
yeah,
they're not titling it as 30-30, so people are
yeah.
getting a little bit deceived by that.
Oh, yeah.
So
And there's even programs that Fish and Wildlife Services are offering now that they're competing against local people and they're leasing land up and not allowing any agriculture on it. And it's something, man. Yeah, they're
yeah,
doing it through the back door, and they're calling it America the Beautiful, or they'll have like this metal art thing that the Game and Fish is doing.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's sponsored by Audubon Society Club, and the
yeah,
World
hmm,
Wildlife Fund and all that. I mean, come on, I
right.
mean,
Yeah,
seriously. All right, Wayne,
and
we're going to be 60 seconds to start, so we're going to go. I go quiet usually here for this,
sure,
so we
sure.
don't say anything that close to going on air. But anyway, stations
Okay.
70500 on Mark. And we're going to be 60 seconds waiting. Stand by. Stations, 45 seconds. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have you along here this morning. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. I'm Scott Bachmeyer. Going to be along with you across the Dakota Territory and around the world on my YouTube channel, Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio. Big thanks to all the stations supporting the outdoor industry here this morning. KGFX out of Pierre, South Dakota. KOLY out of Mobridge, South Dakota. K-Fire 550, Bismarck, Mandan. And KCJB Minot along with KLTC and Dickinson. Good morning. Glad to be here. And don't forget, if you're in the Bowman, North Dakota area this evening, it's going to be a good time. First off, at 5 o'clock this afternoon, the Bowman County 4-H sale. It's their big sale. It's the Bowman Fair, and good stuff, good entertainment. But first and foremost, at 5 o'clock this afternoon, the 4-H auction is going to be held here, and big thanks to the auction committee for letting me be a part of the auction as well. Tonight, you can party in the dirt with Nashville recording artist Josh Gallagher. You probably, I don't know if you watch The Voice, you've probably seen him as a finalist there. Out of Aberdeen, South Dakota, the opening band is going to be Avenger Joe. It's one of the hottest bands, I guess, out of eastern South Dakota. Gates open at 6:30. Avenger Joe comes on at 7:30. This is all mountain time now. 8:15, Josh Gallagher is going to perform. And then at 10 o'clock, after Josh gets done, Avenger Joe comes back on stage, and they're going to play and party with the beer gardens and the dirt until midnight. So the Bowman County Fair, 4-H sale this afternoon, 5 o'clock, and the music entertainment this evening starting around 7. So help yourself coming down to Bowman or up to Bowman or wherever you're listening, over to Bowman, and have yourself a great time. My guest today is Wayne Muth. How you doing, Mr. Muth?
Hey, I'm doing well, Scott. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Get my voice
That's
ready
good.
for this auction here for this afternoon. Have you ever sold a goat before?
I have not. I've not.
I sold a
Yep.
rabbit one time for $1,100.
Oh, that must have been a prize rabbit.
Well, the fun part about it is the little girl's uncle was bidding against the little girl's grandpa or dad, and the little girl wanted to keep this rabbit, did not want it to go away. So she just put on the big old puppy dog eyes to each one of them, and the uncle was messing with the dad or the grandpa, and the grandpa was like, I got to buy this for my kid, right? So
Yeah.
he bought it all right. We made him pay for it too. So it's a lot of fun. That's the fun part about 4-H auctions, man. And 4-H, what a great crew. There's something 4-H and FFA that if
Mhm.
any of the kids, whether town kids or country kids, there's two programs I can get behind that's still in the school system, and I like it.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Speaking of 4-H, we work with my son. We help him at the Country Fest, an Indy Country Fest, and
That's
on
right.
Wednesday night last week they had the free night, and it's a good free will donation, and they raised over or close to $8,000 that goes to the 4-H, the local 4-H in that area. So it really helps out those clubs, and they're great because. I mentioned earlier we were at John's Raise It Full Draw camp, and a lot of those kids that come to that camp are 4-Hers, and I tell you what, good kids, and you can tell the 4-H kids they're respectful, they're very mature for their age. Yeah. It just reflects on them, so it's good organization.
Good program, sure. Yeah, and a big thanks to all the county agents and all the instructors that step up to make that program what it is, the 4-H program. It's good stuff, Wayne. I'm telling you right now. I'm ready for deer season. My wife specifically told me that I need to hunt more this fall.
Good for you.
How about that? Because there's two reasons. Well, one, we butchered a beef last year, and we kept the whole thing, so we got a lot of beef. But I didn't hunt last year because of EHD and the drought and everything that went all backwards on the deer herds. Well, and a lot of people say EHD didn't affect the mule deer. I kind of have my own theory on that, but she told me this is the year. We got to fill up the wild game freezer. So it's happening, man. And the only tag I got was my archery tag so far. My gratis tag, I'm not sure where that's sitting.
And your elk tag didn't show up?
Nope, no elk tag. They did not allow me to have one this year, so.
Yeah. One of these years you'll get one.
One of these years we'll get. And when we do, look out. Look out. John Armin's going to have to come down and videotape that.
There you go. That'll be good.
But the fawns here. Here's the thing. I was talking to before we went on radio on the side. I was doing my YouTube channel a little bit, and a guy from Minnesota, Dave from Minnesota, who's tuning in, and thanks for tuning in, Dave. He says that he's halfway done with the second crop hay, and he's talk about hitting fawns. Well, I did a radio show on this year with the hay bind. He says he hit one this year, but he's hit one for the last 6 years. He said this year, being a few weeks late on making hay, the fawns were a little older, and they would stick their heads up so you could see them. Now, I'm finding the opposite over here. The fawns are like 2 weeks behind over here, and I mean, I'm moving them. They're still got wet navels on them here, Wayne. Is this normal for different areas to have the breeding maybe a couple weeks off?
It could be. It could have been from the snow that our snowstorms and whatnot. Did it impact that? The rut that it pushed it back a little bit. Their days are still the same gestational days. They're like 203 to 205 days gestational. So maybe it's hunting pressure. They say it doesn't impact them. But who knows? I mean, that'd be a good question for the biologist.
It would, and I also had a question when I did my radio program so I ran one fawn through my cutter, and you feel bad when you do that. You never want to. And I found the twin, and I had to literally go grab it, pick it up, and move it into a tree row because it was just laying. I mean, it was newborn born. I mean, it was like really new. So I did that, and it got me to thinking, Wayne, how many fawns, how many turkey nests, how many grouse nests, pheasant nests do we hit when we go haying sometimes? How much do you think is lost? I mean, there's no studies done on this. There's nowhere I could find this. But how many fawns do you think a year nationwide probably get hit or injured or killed that way?
It's got to be in the thousands, probably tens of thousands for all the deer that are out there.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine from south of town, their dad hit one years ago, and it more like ran over, so it wasn't cut. But his brother-in-law was a taxidermist, and they freeze dried it in a laying down, a sleeping position, a hiding position. It was very great conversation piece, good end table piece. It's really pretty, actually.
That's a great idea. I wonder what the rules are to be able to do that. Dave texts back. He says for the younger bucks, or the younger fawns out in my area, he says, do you suppose it was lack of breeding bucks? And that's a great theory there, because we had EHD that wiped out so many of our big bucks. I mean, so many, Wayne, that it was probably some of those young ones that probably got in on that late breeding.
That could be a very good, answer to the question. So if all these larger bucks are getting killed off and they're dying early, we're seeing that they still have velvet on when we're finding them dead. And, the bigger bucks are more susceptible to that EHD because of the vascularity of their antlers. So we're losing a lot of those big bucks. Those smaller bucks are probably taking a little more time to get this breeding on, and maybe fewer to go around. I can see that delaying that.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, Jesse Flass says there's less killed and haying than they are killed by car accidents, and that I agree with here. Hey, we're up against our first break. Wayne Muth is my guest. The toll-free number is 888-932-5682. It's open lines. What you want to talk about, Wayne and I will discuss it. If not, we have things that we can bring up too. There's not a problem there, and you can find that right here. 888-932-5682. 888-9-DAKOTA is the number. Keep it in your memory. We'll be back right after these messages.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
Piper's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Savvy would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Piper's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Savvy. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your locally owned hometown bank, an honor we take great pride in, and our customer satisfaction has always been our most important goal. We've gone along with the communities we serve and will continue to do so with our pledge of modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. From remote deposit options to online mortgage applications, we are happy to serve you wherever you are. Learn more at dakotacommunitybank.com. That's dakotacommunitybank.com.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Pfeiffer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pfeiffer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to Pfeiffers.com.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors continues here on a Saturday morning, Saturday edition, all across the Dakota Territory, 6 states and 2 Canadian provinces. Wayne Muth is my guest. Wayne, a couple things here.
Yeah.
This portion of the program brought to you by Freedom Repair. Now, whether it's a tractor, combine, swather, baler, air seeder, doesn't matter, Freedom Repair comes to you. Get you back in the field, 18 years of experience. Good friend of mine, Lucas Kelly, branched out on his own and said, you know what? I'm going out and I'm going to do this because I want to be my own boss. And he is doing a heck of a job. 701-440-1945. Goes anywhere, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated. Give him a call, 701-440-1945. So you see these people nowadays, Wayne, they're more branching out. There's a couple more people that are starting their own services. And you see that nowadays, they're like, instead of charging what, certain organizations and big box stores are like, if it's a 10-hour job and they do it in 6, they're going to charge you for 10 hours. Right. I mean, that's
Right.
just because that's what the book says. But if they do it faster, they don't get, they don't get a reduced rate. And if it goes longer, you still got to pay for that extra stuff. So a lot of these people are breaking out and they're saying, you know what, we're going to do it the right way, charge you for the actual time that we work. So that's kind of nice to see that.
We see that in the hunting world too. One of our instructors at the camp this week was Jake Wheeling, and he owns Little Missouri Archery out of Kildare, and he's got a couple shops. We were talking about it. You got, I think, one in Dickinson, one in Kildare, and those are the type of shops you really like to support. We love Shields, and they do a good job too. But these mom and pop ones, like John mentioned yesterday too, it's nice to support them, and they'll treat you right.
Absolutely, they will. And when you come back in, they'll remember you. That's the nice thing about that. Say, we're talking about Levi Nelson over the break here off air. He just messaged in here a while back. He said he hit a few pheasant nests this year while he was cutting hay. And I did not hit any pheasant, but I did hit some grouse nests. But the nice thing about this, Wayne, is there's grouse out here this year. A lot of them.
They're fun to hunt. They're not hard to hit. But I'm sorry, they do not taste very well.
No.
I'm not a grouse fan.
I'm not either, but it sure makes you sharp for hitting those pheasant later on in the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
we always considered them flying carp. How they taste, I don't know. But
prairie carp, I heard them called prairie carp before. And you get some of these people, man, they get so mad at me when I say that the best way to make them is wrap them in bacon, cook them for about 350 degrees for 20, 30 minutes, and then take the bacon off, throw the grouse away and eat the bacon. And I get so many hate text messages when I say that, you know, but I'm just I'm not a fan of that taste of it, but it's fun to shoot. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, so the big archery camp that John Armin held this weekend went over well. How many kids did you end up having there?
We had 27 kids, and they're from ages 12 to 17. We had several that were there for the third year. It's our third year of the camp, I think. And there's one that was actually 18 that came back and helped, or a couple, I think, that came back and helped do some coaching with us and little instructors, and they plan on coming back next year if they can. And half of them are girls, so it's really, really fun. Great program.
over the years that you have archery hunted, have you been seeing more of an influx of the females in the hunting side of things? And what do you credit? Do you credit that to the TV shows out there?
I think it has to be. I think just exposure to more women in the outdoors. My wife never hunted, but before we met or when we were dating, she never hunted. But she got into it, and she's been hunting all her life with me. So, that in itself, start getting that exposure out there for other women that they can get out there and do just as well as the guys. I think that exposure from the TV aspect of things, and it's targeted. You get some, nice looking ladies on there, they can turn some eyes, and all of a sudden people get interested, and it makes a difference in our world out there that they're getting more and more all along. And then the industry also is pushing it. There's a lot of camo, this pink camo that they're pushing that clientele that they're looking for. So
that's a tough thing. I talk to John about this all the time too, is, how do you, his daughter on the television side of things, hunting, is there pressure that they have to look good in order for them to be on TV and do hunting? I mean, yeah. So here's the thing on social media. I'm a subscribed to a lot of these different hunting groups and programs. And it seems to me that they're so worried about their looks. The girls have to, the guys really don't have to worry about that. And I'm wondering, is it given the wrong message sometimes is what I'm asking. Uh-oh, you're getting chewed out, aren't you? I see what's happening.
Yeah. No, Judy said that, it's not a fashion show out there, so
that's true. But it seems
she
like
it, agree
right?
with that.
But it seems like some of these shows that they're really pushing it that way, though. I mean, the very first time I interviewed Tiffany Lukowski, right? She was one of the first ones that really, I don't know, made a splash, I guess you could say, in the hunting industry as a female. Maybe we got more popular quicker. And when I contacted her and I tried to do an interview, and the question, it was easy, Wayne. I asked her, what does somebody, let's say it's a new hunter, never a female that's never hunted before, what does she really need to get started in archery? And all she wanted to do was name drop all the sponsors that she had. You have to have a Matthews bow. You got to have 100% scent killer. You got to have these clothing and this clothing and this clothing. And I'm like, well, you should probably start with maybe getting a tag and maybe taking some archery classes. I don't know, maybe get some landowner relations. But, she was just name dropping all the sponsors. Is that kind of where it's moving to?
It really is. You have to look at their agenda. I mean, they're in it to make money. They're in it to get views. They're selling advertising. So, follow the money on those. And I think you're going to find that that's what they're going to push. And I think they get a little away from reality sometimes, and they don't go back to the basics where these young gals need a little direction. And those are the people that they should be looking to get it. And sometimes they're not getting it because it's a money thing. Like anything. Yeah.
Maybe they should do a bit like behind the scenes. Like what does she really look like when she wakes up, and how many, and then the process of getting ready. That's what I want to see. I want to see the backstory there, Wayne, is what I want to see. Hey, Gary Schweeder messaged me. He says he's been seeing 0 fawn sightings to this point at his place. So is there going to be some lack of whitetail fawns out there this year?
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would also think that the fawns that are going to be born, they're probably going to be a fair amount of twins. Levi and I saw that last year. We went down and did some scouting and driving around his place, and a lot of twins and triplets down there because the fall was pretty easy. And last year's fall was pretty good too for the hunting realm. And they were bred by the time our snowstorms came around. But I think the ones that are bred and are going to have them will probably have, multiple little ones. So hopefully we'll build that population up in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, whitetail, that's one thing that whitetail do is they come back in a vengeance, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And does it affect them? Does it affect mule deer? I know what the biologists say, but I know what I'm seeing out here, and I think it affected them a little bit.
We talked in your first program of the year about the mule deer, how it did impact them. I don't think as many died off, but I think they surely had it. because we saw so many bucks last fall with velvet late in the season, actually after the first of the year.
And
we're
brittle.
seeing deer that, brittle. They're breaking their horns. You may see this year where maybe they didn't even shed their horns, or they're growing these cactus bucks because of the testosterone problems that they're having. So, watch for that. And then also we talked about with EHD, if you're shooting mule deer or even whitetails this year, watch for their hooves, because they have the hooves chipping and cracked, and they get gaps in their hooves from the heat from the EHD. When they go into that high temperature, their hooves stop growing and they start to crack. So watch for that if we see any of that this fall.
Do people need to worry
interesting.
about eating the meat if they do find some cracked hooves?
Not that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be an issue with that. Same with CWD. There's not a issue with eating those either that we've heard. So
interesting that you bring that up. More coming up here at the next break here. Wayne Muth is my guest. Keep it right here on Dakota Prairie Outdoors, and we'll party with us tonight. The 4-H sale, Bowman County Fair, going on tonight. 5 o'clock is the 4-H sale, and the gates open at 6:30 for Avenger Joe and Josh Gallagher. That's your music entertainment tonight. Going to be a lot of fun here. Party in the dirt, Bowman County Fair. We'll be back with more Dakota Prairie Outdoors after these messages. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Our outdoor heritage is important to North Dakotans, and the state's oil and natural gas industry is advancing the possibilities for conservation. The North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund receives up to $40 million per biennium from oil and natural gas taxes. The industry is reclaiming land for future generations, and it's developing our state's natural resources in harmony with our great outdoors and wildlife. North Dakota Oil and Natural Gas, advancing the possibilities. Brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Foundation.
Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Savvy would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Savvy. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
For For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your locally owned hometown bank, an honor we take great pride in. And our customer satisfaction has always been our most important goal. We've gone along with the communities we serve and will continue to do so with our pledge of modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. From remote deposit options to online mortgage applications, we are happy to serve you wherever you are. Learn more at dakotacommunitybank.com. That's dakotacommunitybank.com.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Scott Bachmeyer with you here this morning. My guest, Wayne Muth. And Wayne, we have a few text messages and questions, and it all kind of entails what we were talking about during the break, and which is kind of good. It kind of leads into everything here, but making sure I get everything here off of the YouTube. Why do some white-tailed deer have what they call a bobtail? There's a question for you. Why do some of the white-tailed deer have a bobtail?
That's a new one. I have not heard that. I couldn't tell you. I'm not sure why they would.
I guess I've never seen or heard that either. So now I got something else I got to look up for next week's program. Anyway, we were discussing during the break, and I'll get into the text message that kind of feels in with this. You were talking about the evolution of CWD, chronic wasting disease, out of Wyoming. Tell us a little bit about that study.
Well, Dr. Dave Samuel, who's a professor of wildlife biology, he just had a little interesting issue that he printed out. It was in regards to the mutation of the CWD that the University of Wyoming researchers found that the single mutation is linked to slowing the CWD progression and is becoming more common over time. And they were, as the time progressed, the deer were less likely to test positive for CWD. So it's more common in herds that have been exposed to CWD for a long time. So they're thinking that maybe this mutation is going to help us down the road, maybe not have as much die-off. Hopefully that's the case. It's kind of like our COVID thing. You know, there's all kinds of mutations with the COVID. Animals adapt, and sometimes our bodies are miraculous things. They can adjust to things, and maybe their bodies are taking care of it themselves.
Absolutely. You know, that's a great information. Plus, it goes well with this next text message because it kind of two-part. The question is opinions on the new baiting regulations. And when we're discussing this, I'm assuming they're talking about the North Dakota side because South Dakota side's a little bit different on this. He says, to me, it's going to be a little bit tougher to get a setup with a youth hunter to harvest a deer with his bow. Also, part two, also baiting and CWD. What's the difference from the deer grouping up in the winter or going to a bait pile? Now, my answer to that second part, absolutely nothing. All right. Absolutely nothing different from them grouping up in my neighbor's 600-acre cornfield and when they cut it in all the silage pile and there's 300 deer in there in the wintertime, or my hay bales in the hay yard, than it is if I put a little bit of mineral or some molasses or apples or something out in the middle of the draw or canyon out here. Absolutely nothing. Okay. But your opinion on this, Wayne?
I really think that the Game and Fish Department is making an avenue toward getting rid of baiting totally, and I think it's just kind of maybe the play that they're going. That's just my opinion on this, and I'm not sure if they like it, but we see that in our backyard. We see it on your hay fields and such. Any hay fields in the wintertime. These deer are constantly touching noses. They're sniffing. They're peeing, and they're eating right around where they're peeing. And for them to spread it like that, I think it's not going to happen as easily as what people think. I don't think baiting has got a big factor to do with this. Also with baiting, maybe, and I've said this before, and people probably won't like it. If you can't bait, then don't bait. I mean, just learn how to hunt better. Just go out and do some scouting and sit over scrapes and do some scent rags and do some calling for bucks. I mean, you could work other ways and make it work for you too if you can't bait in your area.
Yeah.
But,
I was going to ask, what happens when you can't bait? What's the next technique or tactics? And it goes back to the old school stuff, rattling. But how is baiting? Is using doe estrus baiting?
They're saying it is.
Right? Technically, yes, right? I mean,
it is.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and,
is that part of it?
They're,
You can't use doe estrus in these units where they say no baiting. Is that part of it too?
Right. You cannot use a pure form of it. I think you can use maybe a synthetic deer urine, but, and I think John has mentioned before, I think you need like 36 gallons of it to make an impact to be able to pick up the disease. So it takes large amounts of it. So your little scents that you're putting on a rag out there and dragging around, I don't think would impact anything. But it does push people back into, maybe hunting a little better. They're using trail cams, and that's another hot topic right now, that places and states are outlawing trail cams. Utah has done it because they felt that outfitters are selling deer and they're advertising them online saying, hey, we have this buck, we'll sell it. And Arizona, they got into, there's so many trail cams around water holes because of their drought last year. They had to make a choice because it was impacting actually the deer itself, not going to the water holes and so much traffic there. That was a little different avenue because they banned it. But so people have to get into maybe being a better hunter, determining buck sign. What's a buck track? What's a doe track? Does wander, bucks don't so much. Look for indications in the snow, whether it's a buck or doe or rutting, like we talked about, calling. I've killed some deer just dragging scent rags, and they will follow it right to you. I called in bucks last year, as a matter of fact, to 20 yards, and it's doable, and I think people just got to use it.
It's going to take and a little bit more patience, a little bit more time. Let's go to the phone lines here. It looks like Jesse is calling in. Morning, Jesse.
Good morning, guys. Can you hear me all right?
I can. And first and foremost, man, I sincerely apologize for not being able to make the Dakota Walleye Classic next week. I really apologize.
Oh, well, we're not the only ones with issues. A lot of people do and do not know that I'm fishing it. And in the last 10 days, I think 3 different people have contacted me asking me if I want to MC it this year. And
yeah,
I said, yeah, I can if you've got a wireless mic that goes 3 or 4 miles, because I'll be in the water.
Yeah. Anyway, what's on your mind today, my friend?
Oh, just a good overall conversation today, guys. Up here in our country, I haven't seen a lot of dead deer because I haven't been out. I didn't hunt much last year either. I didn't even hunt coyote much. But one thing I'm noticing in my industry is I've turned in 1 car deer hit claim this last year from
only 1
January 1st to now.
Wow.
And that deer claim was my wife, and she hit that deer by Duluth. So I think we're seeing a lot less car wrecks with deer, because I really do believe overall in our state our deer numbers are down. And when the Game and Fish survey came out, it kind of showed that. They did dial back licenses in some areas. Were you Wayne, were you surprised that they didn't completely shut the whitetail off in a couple of units or not?
Well, they did in our unit right here, Bismarck Mandan 3C. There's no whitetail tags
there isn't.
to be
Okay.
had. Nope, they shut it off totally.
Okay.
And north of the interstate, the unit up there, that's 90% decrease. So there are some units that they really cut back on, and it's not prevalent all over. So they hit the heavy units and they did cut back. Now, I'm not sure about some of the other ones. They had a spreadsheet on it at one of our meetings, but so they've done their diligence, and hopefully that will help bring the herds back in a hurry. So
It's no different than when they shut down the mule deer doe and all the number 4 units, 4A through 4F, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Couple 2-3 years, and we've got mule deer does everywhere now. So I hope it works. It's a good.
There's a lot of
them. A hard job, but a good job that the Game and Fish has done trying to remedy it.
Right. Yeah. And you have to look at and that was one of the issues we've had with overcrowding and such. They manage for opportunity and they manage for numbers of deer. They don't manage for quality, and I think that's something that I would like to see a little bit more of. Our qualities in some of our areas are dropping off. And are
we talking about a slot limit on deer here?
No, we're talking about a point limit. I know some states say you have to take, it's got to at least have 4 points and for you to be able to shoot it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there's opinions on both sides of the road at that too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, I'll listen to the rest of the show. You guys have a good weekend.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jesse.
You bet. 888-932-5682. That's 888-932-5682 is the phone number here. And a couple things, text messages coming in here too. When Gene out of Mobridge says, I don't know about deer, but antelope in the Mobridge area are getting cut back as well. And he were talking about that. I believe he called in and he says some of the youth tags now it has to be on private land only, or the mentor tags or something. Yeah. So that's interesting that they switched that around a little bit too. And
I heard they change that down there. Yeah.
And just so I get everything in here, coming back, Matt said when he asked about the bobtails, whitetail, he said maybe it was once during a tough winter. He says he's seen one, but it also had bite marks all over the backside. So maybe the coyote, all he got was the end of that tail. And that could very well be.
Yeah.
Very well. And Jamie is listening in Deerwood, Minnesota. He's chilling out there with a mug that says Coal, Guns, and Freedom. So you got to be
cool.
Somebody asked me yesterday if the electric vehicles and electric tractors are ever going to start making an appearance. I'm like, I hope not. I said I'd like to get my work done, and I mean the expense of putting a charging station in would just be crazy. So coal-powered electric cars is what we're looking at here. So
can you imagine how long a tractor would last in like 10-degree weather, pulling your hay wagon, feeding cattle?
Like 30 minutes,
it's probably.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, and if it wouldn't, I mean, if you get the extended battery, I mean, imagine the expense on that thing. So it's scary that. But anyway, back to the hunting side of things. Hunting. Is it going to change? I mean, if the ultimate goal is to get rid of baiting, is it going to change how many people actually get into the hunting side of things? Because it's like this one texter texted in. It's going to be difficult to get youth interested if they see nothing. I mean, look at antelope. If you're sitting in a blind on a water hole for 14 hours a day and finally something comes in at night, you know what I mean? I mean, it's going to be a little bit tougher. So, besides going back to the older ways of maybe hunting, like you mentioned, is it going to deter some of these younger generations?
I think it is. I think we're kind of victims of our own success in society because, excuse me, the kids nowadays, they want instant gratification. They get online, they order something, they want it now. That instant gratification is there. So now they get out into the hunting world, and if they don't get that instant gratification, is it going to deter them and push them away from that sport sooner than it would if they went on and sat over a bait and shot a deer in the first 2 hours of their hunting season? I think that it's going to impact them. I would definitely do. And then there's also the disabled hunters that don't get that opportunity. It's harder for them to get out there. I think that's also an issue too that's been brought up. So.
John always mentioned on the show, he says, I think there's enough hunters out here. He says, I think there's too many. Is that shared with you? Or?
Yeah, it is. In North, from some some of the statistics from North Dakota from 2019-20 season to last year. There was a 5.4% increase in residents and a 31% increase in non-residents here. It's very easy to get a non-resident archery tag. So yeah, those populations are continuing to go up for out on the landscape, and we're seeing it. I mean, we see the impact and the overcrowding. So yeah, and we're having some discussions with the Game and Fish Department about that, some of the possible options that they may do for the bow hunting to relieve some of that pressure. Because I think it's impacting also the elk hunters that get that once in a lifetime tag, that are out there trying to hunt and doing their diligence and want to have that experience, and they're inundated with people. I don't think that's fair to them either. So
however,
hopefully that
some
determination can come up.
My take on that is the Game and Fish Department, their job is to manage wildlife, not people.
Exactly.
Okay, so I mean, if you have somebody out elk hunting in a certain area, and all of a sudden 4 bow hunters start walking through, it's not the Game and Fish problem to worry about that, I don't think here. But however, let's move on to the question of the day. I posed this on my Facebook page. Are hunting fees too cheap for the residents of North or South Dakota?
What were your answers that you're getting?
One guy said too cheap for out-of-state hunters. Next guy said they're reasonable for residents, but too cheap for out-of-staters. What are you referring to when you say hunting fees? Well, I thought that's kind of implied, but that's all right. He says another one, I feel they're reasonable for residents, but be increased for non-resident. Reasonable for residents, too low for non-residents. Fair for North Dakota and South Dakota, but bring on the blue platers for their wallets and full of tourism dollars. So I think it's a general consensus that the resident of what North and South Dakota pay is reasonable, but everybody wants to see the non-residents increased. And what's your take?
I think for the deer aspect of things, deer and antelope, I think it's reasonable. I think the application fees could be increased somewhat. It's a $5 fee to apply. So,
but where would the money go? I mean, when Terry Steinwand was at a advisory meeting, one of his last ones, he said that every 2 years, he said at that time they had $92 million that was allotted to him by the North Dakota state. He said that some of these people told him, you got to spend more money. You got to spend more. Well, if they're already got 92 million, why do they need more from hunting fees?
I think we're overlooking a bigger aspect of it. When we talk about hunting fees, we kind of target this big game piece of it. But you look at all the eastern part of the state, the goose hunting out there, and the duck hunting, and the
fishing.
You're fishing, the game wardens that got to be out there. There's just not enough to go around. There can be more of that. And I think if they would even increase our moose and elk tags here, resident-wise, they could make that a better hunt by putting more game animals on the landscape. And you probably don't want that down there, but I think
I'm gonna have to argue that one.
I think there's areas that they can maybe introduce more elk. And have more opportunities for the state residents here. You think about it. Our elk tags here are $30. Yeah. In South Dakota, if you draw an elk tag as a resident, it's $185.
Yeah.
In moose, Wyoming charges $152 for a moose. Montana's $125. Colorado's $320. Minnesota's $356. So you get a moose or elk tag in North Dakota, that's pretty cheap.
It is.
A bighorn sheep tag's $30 here. In South Dakota, they charge just about $300.
Yeah.
So
let's go. Let's get one more phone call in here real quick. A 220 number. You got 60 seconds. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Scott, it's Jamie in Deerwood. You hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right, good. Sitting here looking at a squirrel and a white-tailed doe. So I was just going to say, the baiting thing, where I put bait down at my dad's place and our family's place, I already seen the deer, like Wayne said, go do some scouting. I scouted out where the deer already were. I knew where they were. I just put it down to try and get a bigger buck in there, and it generally doesn't work. The big bucks come in at night, or you got to be there pretty much every day waiting to get them. But I mean, I'm definitely not against baiting, but yeah, you got to go out and see where they're at. And just because you go put a big pile of corn down doesn't mean you're going to get a 170-inch whitetail buck coming in or whatever. But they probably are trying to get rid of it. And I don't know, whatever. Plant a food plot if you can. Is that baiting then too? I don't know what their big
Eventually, it would
problem
be
with it
considered,
is-
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
That's always the
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
What in
Yeah.
the heck is a conservative doing in Minnesota?
Well, I met my aunt and uncles. They're pretty conservative. I don't know if they're as right wing as I am. I think it kind of softened them up a little bit here, but they're. I'm up by east of Brainerd. There's quite a few of them here. I'd be honest with you, but we go for a walk, and there's a big sign here, a BLM sign on somebody's driveway too. That kind of makes me snarl a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
Hey, black livestock does matter, so you just settle down. Okay?
Yes, it does.
Jamie, got to let you go, buddy. Thanks for the call. Appreciate
Hey
it.
guys, good show. Good talking to you. Have a good one.
You bet. Thanks for listening out that way in Minnesota. So, Wayne, as we close things up here really quick, anything else you want to get off your mind before we call it good? Call it a good Saturday here.
I just think people can start to get out there and do some scouting and start targeting those deer that they're looking at. Get some landowner relationships going. I think that's going to be key going forward, because there's just less and less public land going to happen out there.
Okay, so I have 30 seconds. Somebody said, "What's your background?" All right, and just tell them you're an official scorer here. So you tell them.
Yep, I'm an official scorer, so I do lots of research. I did a lot of outdoor writing in the past through national magazines. We work with some of the other biologists I've contacted, and we've transferred information back and forth. So, we do a lot of research on this for articles and whatnot. So,
we're going to finish this on the YouTube side. For the radio side,
okay.
Thank you for tuning in. Radio stations, thanks for having me. Eat some meat, drink some milk. We'll see you at the 4-H Fair, 5 o'clock this afternoon, Bowman Fairgrounds. Thanks for tuning in. Dakota Prairie Outdoors, Saturday edition. All right, radio stations, thank you so much. Continuing on the YouTube side, finish out because Benjamin's listening on the YouTube side. So finish out your background.
Yeah, sure. So being a Pope and Young scorer, I get lots of questions on non-typical bucks and what's happening here, what's happening there, and we don't get taught that when we go through our Pope and Young measuring seminars in our schools. So. I've done a lot of research over the years. I've worked with the Game and Fish Department on things. I age all my bucks that I take. We take them over to the biologist, Bill Jensen, and we age them. So we keep track of that. I've been writing articles. I haven't written any for a while, but I used to write articles for outdoor magazines. And I work with other writers and other, biologists. I contact biologists down south of what's happening down there with their EHD. And then also I've been asked to be a part of a small group through the Game and Fish Department to look at the overcrowding in the Badlands and some possible options out there that may come up. And there's a couple other gentlemen that have been asked from different organizations that are also there. So we've had one meeting so far. They're looking at what possibilities may happen in the future. And so, a lot of background, a lot of work with others out there too. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I
hope that helps.
Thank you for taking time here and such short notice for me. I lost track with the hang and everything here. So, one more text says, charging more for big game tags may price it out of the realm for lower income hunters. $30 is so cheap, though.
But if you look at this, any of those low income hunters, look at what they spend their money on. I'm sorry, but these guys, there's a lot of guys out there that have the $850 rifle. They've got the $1,000 scope on it. They've got the $600 backpack. I don't know what level is going to be too much. I just think that if they can increase the prices, and maybe some of it will deter some of those just regular people that just buy a tag for the heck of it and don't hunt. Maybe it'll deter them from buying the tag. I don't know. But I always look at if we could increase our odds of drawing some of these tags would be nice. And the only way you do that, I guess, is to either increase the number of tags or decrease the number of people that are applying for them.
I say give landowners a tag and let them be able to sell it off.
Yeah.
It helps two ways. We can reinvest the money into the fences and water and weeds. And secondly, it gives somebody else a chance that if they want to pay that much or that little, say you want to sell it for $200, but they have to hunt on that property. So it doesn't guarantee that they can go all the way through the rest of the unit like it is now. And that's something
Sure.
that I don't know if I agree with or not, is, if you get drawn for an elk tag, that's a pretty large unit you can hunt, but landowners, same way. You get a landowner tag with a deer, antelope, it has to be on the land that you registered online. But elk, evidently, after a certain day, you can go everywhere. Maybe they need to,
Right.
they need to give these gratis tags out and say, okay, you get a gratis tag, but you can only hunt on said property. And if you want to sell that tag off, you can, but that person has to hunt on that property.
Right.
Then you open it up a little bit more for more people to be able to have the chance to hunt, not necessarily more hunters mean less elk or more elk taken, because there might not be any on that quarter of land.
Yeah, and I agree, because maybe some of those, maybe the landowner gets a cow elk tag or something one year, and they can sell that they don't want to shoot it. I mean, I think that's a great idea, and I wish that the Game and Fish Department would surely do that, because I think that would just open up more avenues for these people. And that wouldn't even, maybe they wouldn't even apply to their once in a lifetime tag. Who knows? How that would work.
That's the thing that I'm looking at, is there's simple ways to make not only great landowner relationships here, but also you can help the landowner through that, and get an extra person, like the 3 quarters that I have over here. There's elk that come through. There's elk that stay there. All right. But they're not there every day. So this person's still going to have to put time and effort into it, and he might not be able to get that tag filled. It's not, when I said, well, I wanted to get this stuff registered as elk habitat, they were like, oh, geez, the people up north in Medora are going to be so pissed if there's another person with a landowner tag. And I'm like, why? We have just the same issues that they have up there. Why do they get special treatment than we don't? So
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't worried about, we're going to be taking more elk. It was, these people are going to be mad. Well, it's not. You're not managing the people. You're supposed to be managing the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, exactly. Yeah. But however, I think with the opening bow season and the inundation of hunters out there, that the Game and Fish Department, they can control somewhat how many hunters out there, because they're supposed to be managing the game. And I think that it may come down over the years here coming up that you may have to apply for a unit for hunting the Badlands.
Well, how
for bow hunting?
Well, they need to start by doing it on their plots program. Sure. That's a great place for them to start, because they're already paying the landowner for that area. Now, if you have one section of land that you're paying $5 an acre to the landowner and 16 people come through there, there's not going to be much for wildlife there. So you're not managing the game on that property as well as you should. But if you have a block management system like Montana and say, you need to sign in at this point, and then people come in and they're like, oh shit, there's already 3 or 4 people on this place, I'm going to go to the next one.
Right.
I think they need to start with their own plots program.
Yeah, and I like the block management in Montana.
Yeah.
I've hunted it before, and I've killed bucks out of there. So,
well, think about on the game warden side of things too, Wayne, is if something happens in that area where some game warden walks through and they're like, there's 10 dead deer here, and they check back in on the list, it might give them a chance to at least go interview, or at least a start of who was in there and what they've seen,
That's a great point. Yeah.
So, anyway, I better get my bags packed and my service tank filled, and I got a whole list of stuff. So,
you got to rock and roll, fly to South Carolina.
Yeah. All right, man.
Well, you enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have yourself a good day. Thanks again.
You bet. Let me know when you need some help again.
Okay. Sounds good. You bet. See ya.
Take care. Have fun. Bye-bye.
All right, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate everything, and have yourself a great weekend. We'll see you next weekend. And if you have any items of interest you want, send it to me. My phone number is 701-425-6651. And any topics you want me to cover, I can sure try to do what I can for you. Thank you.